guys, it's Christy and today I'm doing a Shakespeare haul. So I am obsessed with Shakespeare. I actually took a class in college where we read a lot of his lesser known plays and analyzed them, and I found it to be so interesting. Anyway, I love Shakespeare, and I have all of his work in a big giant book that I got for my Shakespeare class, but I just found that a lot of his work I have been meaning to read, but it's just so hard to pull out that big giant book and read it in bed or wherever I am, you know, or travel with it. So I really wanted to get each of the plays as standalone books that would just be easier to read, so I could actually hit my goal of reading all of his work, because that is my goal. I want to read everything. Oh, and then the other thing is that I wanted all of them to be in the same kind of collection. I didn't want random things. I don't know. I like when everything just looks cohesive and looks the same, like on my bookshelf. And I found this, I was at the bookstore and I found this collection of all of his plays in standalone books, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get these. And I couldn't buy all of them at that point in time, but I bought the ones, my favorites, and then I bought the ones that I'm most eager to read that I haven't already read. So, okay, I'm gonna jump into the haul and share with you what I got. Okay, so the first thing that I got is the complete sonnets of William Shakespeare. So in all of these I have, in even the sonnets I have in that big giant book that I have, but I thought these would be great for just sitting and making a dedicated effort of reading his sonnets, because I have seen some really cool ones just floating around the internet and on Pinterest and stuff, and I just wanted to read them for myself. The next one that I got, and I'm kind of bummed because, you know, the stickers that they put on books, the two of these got kind of damaged when I peeled the stickers off, so so that's what that is just sticker damage. But so I'm kind of bummed about that, but it's okay. So this first one is the Twelfth Night, and I don't know too much about it, but I do know that this is what the movie She's the Man is based off of. So in She's the Man, she's going to this new school and pretending to be a boy, because I think the school is for boys. Oh, because she wants to play soccer, right? She dresses up as a boy so she can be in their school and be on their soccer teams. But it's based off of this play, and it's basically about a woman who impersonates a man, and, you know, drama ensues. So I really like the front says, "Some are born great, others achieve greatness." That's another great thing about this collection, is that it has the most famous quote on the front. So the Twelfth Night is a comedy, because all of Shakespeare's plays are either a comedy or a tragedy. You know, that's how plays work. And then the next one, this is one of my favorites of his, and it is A Midsummer Night's Dream. And the front says, "Lord, what fools these mortals be." If you love Christian Bale and you haven't seen the Midsummer Night's Dream that he was in, you need to go watch it. It also has Michelle Pfeiffer and, what was her name? Callista Flockhart? Oh, Kevin Kline was in it. Yeah, he was the ass man. The ass man. The one that gets turned into the donkey. They may have done another one recently. I can't think of it. But my favorite one was definitely the one with Christian Bale in it. Midsummer Night's Dream is also a comedy. Everything ends happily. And this play, in case you're not familiar, is about a love quadrilateral. There is a couple, and then there's this man who's in love with the woman, and then there's this other woman who's in love with the man that's in love with this other woman. So it's really interesting, and these fairies get involved. There's a love spell that gets cast on these characters, but in a really funny way. And the love spell actually results in not just this guy, but the other guy the couple, right? I'm explaining this so well. So both of the guys are now obsessed with this other girl, the girl that just liked this one guy and he didn't like her back. And so now they're both obsessed with her because of this love spell. And now this other woman who used to have both guys fawning over her now has neither. And she's like, what the heck is going on? It's really good. And it's funny, but it's just great. So, okay, so then the next one that I got, and this is another one with sticker damage, is Macbeth. And this, and the quote on it says, "Something wicked this way comes." This one would be such a fun one to read for Halloween. It's a bit too late for that, but I don't know too much about Macbeth. I know I've seen the play when I was a kid, but I'm not super familiar with the story. I do know it's a tragedy, and so some bad things happen, and it's got some magical elements in it, and that's why you hear it a lot in relation to, movies about witchcraft and stuff like that. You usually hear in the song, "Something wicked this way comes." But I really don't know too much about this. Maybe I'll update everyone after I read it and let you know kind of what it's about. Okay, and then my favorite of all of Shakespeare's plays, Much Ado About Nothing. I love this story. The quote on it says, "Let me be that I am, and seek not to alter me." I don't think that's my favorite quote of the whole thing. My favorite quote is, "I do love nothing in the world so well as you. Is not that strange?" Just because it's super sweet and romantic. So anyway, there are these cousins, and one of the cousins falls in love with one of the soldiers, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're so cute, they're gonna get married, whatever." And then the other cousin, she's like a little bit more closed off when it comes to relationships and men, but everyone decides that she would be perfect for one of these other soldiers because he's the exact same way, where he's like, "I don't need a relationship, I don't need a woman, blah blah blah, I don't ever need to get married." So everyone thinks it'll be really fun to try to get the two of them together, right? And so they kind of trick them, and there's some really funny scenes of, like them forcing her to go call him into dinner and forcing them to interact, but then they actually end up starting to like each other, and they don't know that they're being manipulated by their friends and family. So it's just really, really cute. But then there's also some really serious things that happen too. There are some bad people that want to split the two that are in love. They're wanting to split them apart. And anyway, so there's a lot that happens in this play. Some serious things and some just really comedic, light, romantic moments. I love it so much. And yeah, I just can't wait to read it again. So then the next one that I picked up is Hamlet. And this is probably, I would argue, his most famous play, I would say. No, okay, Romeo and Juliet is the most famous. This would be the second most famous. But yeah, so the quote is, "To be or not to be, that is the question." And that's probably, that's probably the most famous of all of the Shakespeare quotes. Probably. So this is about a prince, and his father is murdered, and so he is haunted by his father's ghost, and he's trying to figure out what happened and who murdered him, and there's a lot of darkness. This is a tragedy. Oh, in case I didn't mention, Much Ado About Nothing is a comedy. Everything ends happily. But so Hamlet is quite dark, and it has a lot of those, it's very mysterious because it's about haunting and murder and all that stuff. So depending on what you're in the mood for, I've actually never read Hamlet. I'm not super familiar with the story. I know basically what it's about, but I am excited to read this. Okay, so then the next one that I got was Julius Caesar, and I am super excited to read this because I don't know a ton about Roman history, and I just think that this would be, and of course this is a fictionalized representation of something that happened, but I just am really excited about this. This one is a little bit different from the others. It doesn't have a quote, but the famous quote in this is "Et tu, Brute." It's about betrayal. It's about someone that Julius Caesar thought was close to him, that thought had his back, and he betrays him. So that's Julius Caesar, and it is a tragedy. So the last book that I picked up was The Taming of the Shrew. I've never read this one either, but I'm really excited about it because this play actually inspired 10 Things I Hate About You, which is one of my favorite movies. It's probably my favorite teen romantic comedy of all time, and this play is actually pretty controversial, especially nowadays, and with feminism on the rise and everything. But it's about this woman that everyone thinks she's not wife material because she's got too much personality, too many opinions, right? And I can't tell you exactly what happens in the play because I've never read it, but at least in 10 Things I Hate About You, this one guy is wanting to date this girl, and she cannot date until her sister dates. And so the guy decides he's going to find a boyfriend for the sister so that way he can date the girl that he's wanting to date. So Heath Ledger is the guy that gets hired to woo Kat, the sister. They actually end up falling in love, and then she finds out that he was hired and that it started out under, the relationship started out under false pretenses, and obviously that's not good. But it's so funny, and what I love about that movie is that they inject Shakespeare quotes and humor and stuff into it, and so it's definitely a big nod to Shakespeare. It's very clear that it's based off of a Shakespeare play.